In this video, you'll learn how to apply automotive base coat paint with an HVLP spray gun. You will need the following.
An HVLP spray gun. A 1.0 to 1.6 tip is recommended. Cup size is totally up to you. Ideally, something in the 20 ounce range is going to be best. An inline water trap is recommended. An air pressure regulator is required. An air compressor, minimum horsepower 1.5, minimum tank size 3 gallons. An air hose, minimum length 25 feet. Alright, we got a gold plastic bumper, and we're going to change it to a steel metallic blue. First step is wet sand the whole thing with 600 grit. Alright, the wet sanding's done, and when you wet sand to prep for a base coat, what you're looking for is a dull finish. If you find any spots that are still shiny, alright, that's not going to have the bite for the paint, and you got to wet sand those with your 600 grit. And this is our gun and our regulator and our red water trap here. So you want to go hose, and then an inline water trap, then you want your regulator, then you want your gun, and you want to use as much plumber's tape as possible on all these fittings so that you get a very consistent flow of pressure, no leaks. Now dial in your gun with this knob so that with trigger open you're at about 30 psi. And this thing's in good shape. Alright, so what are all these knobs on this gun? This actually sets air pressure. You want to have it wide open, okay? Sometimes people have this closed and they're trying to dial in their gun, they're not getting enough pressure, and like, what's going on? And this valve is closed, so make sure that it's as open as possible. What's this particular knob? This knob makes your fan larger and more narrow, larger and more narrow. We'll sort of experiment with this, with the fan that you're wanting. Ideally, your fan should be about the length of your, from your pinky to your thumb, like that. That's the fan that you want hitting the object that you're painting. And one last adjustment is this. This is going to be your fluid nozzle, okay? It determines actually how much paint flows out of the gun as you're painting. Generally, you're just going to want to leave it as it is out of the box. Other pieces of your gun, this is your air cap. Okay. That should spin freely. Sometimes when you use this and you put it away, you don't clean it well, sometimes it'll get stuck. You might want to brush this outer rim with a little bit of paint thinner, and that usually loosens it up. That's your nozzle. That's your actual paint nozzle. Your paint nozzle can be removed with this adjustable wrench that comes with your gun here. Now with the nozzle off, you can actually remove the fluid needle. But you do have to back out your fluid adjustment screws here in the back. And then you'll find a spring which gives it tension. And if you needed to clean your fluid needle, that's how you would get full access to it. So, back goes the needle. Back goes the adjustment screw. Of course, your cap it should be removable. Excuse me, your cup. You know, and if you find paint in these threads or in your air cap or on your nozzle, when you disassemble it, you do get this brush. You know, fill it up with a little paint thinner, and you can scrub these areas clean. It's very important that you get all wax and grease off of any panel that you're painting prior to applying the base coat. And you can use our wax and grease remover. You could buy this at any auto parts store. And here's the process for degreasing the entire panel. We'll keep a dry one, and we'll keep a wet one. Soak it well with your wax and grease remover and give it one good wet wipe followed by a dry wipe. Just a little note, you're going to see this with your spray gun if you do purchase it from us. It's essentially useless. It is a filter, but it tends to clog and it requires a lot of cleaning. I suggest you actually not use this. The paint that we sell is already reduced, so it's ready to spray. Just give it a real good shake. This cup is about 12, I think it's actually 16 ounces, so I'm going to fill it to about 2/3 full. If you have one of these mesh filters, it's nice. It could catch any chunks of paint, but it's not totally necessary. Before you spray your panel, why don't you spray a piece of cardboard just to make sure that the gun's spraying properly. It's got the size of fan that you're after. Excuse me. Wear a respirator, not a dust mask. This is a 3M 6001. Now I'm going to paint this outside for purposes of the video. It's going to be very well lit. But ideally you're going to want to paint inside to keep the dust out of your work. Alright, so before I actually start to spray this piece here, it's important to remember that the first third of this trigger is pure air. And the purpose of that is so in lower temperatures, when you apply your paint, you can actually use pure air to accelerate its drying time. Probably not going to use this much. It's about 90 degrees out right now. But in lower temperatures, if you're having some problems flashing off the paint, getting it to dry, just use that first third right there to accelerate the drying. So how far should your gun be from the panel that you're painting? As a general rule, it's pinky to thumb. this looks quite good, and this is the advantage of an automotive paint gun versus spray paint. You just don't see striping and clouds. It's able to put the paint on so much more evenly. It's only been about 5 minutes since I painted it. Let me see if it's dry to the touch. Yeah, see, it is a 90-degree day, but it's dry to the touch already within 5 minutes. All right, so we turned a gold bumper into a steel blue bumper. I'm just curious how much paint we actually used. Okay, not much. Yeah, that probably only took 8 ounces, so this stuff goes a long ways. And we're gonna save it. Right back into the can. Now we got to clean this gun and get it ready for clear coat. So get yourself some automotive paint thinner. Pour in a good 3-4 ounces worth. Give it a good shake, okay? So we get that thinner up to the top of the cup, even up to the cap. Just take an old empty can, pour that thinner out. Repeat. Actually, this time we'll run the thinner through the nozzle of the gun. I'll dump that one more time here. I'll just wipe this down. Doesn't have to be perfect. Little paint thinner. Let's get the inside of the cup. The outside of the cup. Doesn't need to be perfect on the outside, but you can see a lot of that steel gray paint's hanging around. More thinner. Now this is round number 3, so we should be looking for a clear stream of thinner coming out of here. It's still gray. Now it's starting to clear up. Yeah, that's nice and clear. right. One more wipe out of the inside of the cup. And that's ready for clear coat.